That's better. I look like a hood rat today. Hello honeys, it's Yolz and welcome back to my channel. Yes, I am still wigging it because I have not revealed my haircut. It is coming next week. I'm so excited because I'm tired of looking like a hood rat. Like, I look legit though. Today I definitely look like a hood rat. Anyway, let us get straight into the video. We want to be talking about periods today because that's what girls do. I'm joking. It's what girls don't do enough of. So I've got my pad and I've got my tampons over here for the sake of a presentation. Why is the lighting doing this? This is what morning light does. And this is why I don't film in the morning. Anywho, as you probably got the picture and saw the title, today we are talking all things periods, menstruation, that time of the month, the cycle, whatever you want to call it. We are literally just going to put it all out there and have a proper girl talk, because I feel like we as women, or rather girls, I think women do talk about it, but we as girls just don't get into detail. And there are some things you thinking you're going through alone when the rest of us are probably going through the same thing. We just don't want to be judged or be seen some type of way, you know what I'm saying? So with that said, I went on Instagram. I went straight to the bottom because that's where I want to start, and I asked you questions, and as per normal, you guys come through. You're always coming through with them answers. There's tons. Let's get straight into this video. If you do enjoy this video, you know what to do. Give it a massive thumbs up. It's a brand new year, so last year if you've watched my videos once, twice, 3 times and you still haven't subscribed, please do so. It's absolutely free. You know you enjoy this, so why not join the Yolz channel family? I love you guys so much, and I do sincerely hope you will enjoy. So before we get into the questions, I want to just put it out there that I'm not a medical practitioner. I am not a gynae. I have no real medical expertise in any of, you know, periods, menstruation. I almost said how long did it take you to learn that word, by the way? Back in the day, I literally could not say it properly. Anyway, I digress. What I was saying was, I am not a medical practitioner. Any of the advice that I give is solely based on my opinion, my experience, and what I've heard my girls say about their periods, our periods. Literally, even from these questions, I've been able to relate, and I had like light bulb moments thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one going through this. Otherwise, I still would advise that if anything is serious or severe and you're not sure, do not take my advice as the Bible. Instead, go ahead and consult with your doctor or your gynae. It is advisable to always see them when you are not sure about something, or you're feeling a little like something is a bit strange, something is different. Definitely go and consult your doctor or your gynae. Please do not quote me when you go to your doctor and be like, y'all said, nah. Fred, we're not, no, you know I'm not a doctor. So first question is, does exercising affect your periods? I'm not sure. Hey, I started exercising like a week ago and I exercised the whole week. My period came a few days afterwards and it was pretty normal, so nothing changed. But I'm not sure if I continued this trend for like 6 months, if over that time I'd actually see a change in my period. So I really don't know. If you have seen a change, perhaps, are you more regular? I wonder what would change. I don't think it would change though, because scientifically I don't think exercise should change anything that's happening in your ovaries, your fallopian tubes. I don't think so though. Have you tried the menstrual cup? No, I haven't. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm not reading people's names, this is completely anonymous. I want to protect you and create a safe space for us to have these girl talks more often, and that you feel free to ask whatever's on your mind without thinking yours might just, you know, expose. No babes, no expose here. Tampons, are they reliable in terms of leakage? I actually really rely on tampons, especially when I have heavier days, especially when it comes to leakage. I can feel when I'm wearing a panty liner. I always try and wear a panty liner when I'm wearing a tampon, unless it's the last few days when I know it's like a very little low flow kind of thing. But yeah, in terms of leakage, I can feel that like the tampon is full now. Let me just go and change it. Yeah, I definitely think it's reliable. What is better between tampons and pads? I personally think none is better, so to say. But if I was on an island and I had to choose, I think I'd go for tampons, because if I've got them on, I can swim. They are definitely mess free compared to pads. But to be quite honest with you, again, I switch between the two, and that's just to keep the area airy and make sure that there's a healthy, you know, amount of it, and that I have less of a chance of ever having bacteria building up there or growing. Okay, is there any harm in having intercourse during your periods? I don't personally think there's any harm in doing so. That's really up to you and your hubs. For me, I've never tried it before. I do think though, if I ever tried the menstrual cup, I might just experiment, you know, because I do understand that it goes right up very close to the cervix, so it literally it's high up and your vaginal canal is open. So if you use it and you're using it throughout your cycle, that area will obviously be pretty clean. Obviously when you're showering, you're gonna try and remove everything safely and then put it back up there. So as long as that area is mess free, you know, then I think it's pretty just safe to do whatever you need to do. That is not to say that you can't have intercourse when you're using a pad, you know, or a tampon. Just remove everything and do your thing. I am just like good or like ewed out by the thought of the mess. No, it's not for me personally. But with the cup,
so experiment.
Maybe we get a story time on how your first period was. It's not really story time worthy. I literally just got my period on a normal school day. I went home and I saw something was just not right. It was brown in color and my mom was like, oh, that's your period, and that was it. That literally is the story. How do you think we should behave when females around us are on their periods? Oh, P.S. I'm a male. Hey, anonymous. I don't think you should be acting weird, honestly, and also be open-minded. For instance, if you see something that's not supposed to be, like for instance she happens to be leaking and she's a friend of yours, let her know. In fact, even if she's not a friend, I appreciate a guy who's going to be like, I'm just thinking of varsity, if there were ever guys like that who'd be like, hey, there's just a small spot, just say small, even if it's big, a small spot behind you on your dress or on your pants. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, like, very genuine and very kind. Like, be sensitive at the fact that this is not what any girl wants to ever hear. It's obviously embarrassing, and obviously don't do it in front of other people. Like, do it silently or whisper in her ear or write a little note that will go straight to her hands and no one else's. But yeah, like, be sincere and be very open-minded. During that time of the month, we can say things we don't mean, we might say things we do mean, maybe later regret. But yeah, we do have mood swings. That's very normal. And learn more about periods. I wish more men learned more about periods, because I want to be able to trust my husband. Lord forbid, if I'm not around and my child has her period, when I get a girl one day, Lord willing, that he'll be able to have the talk with her and also be sensitive in the same regard and open enough for her to be able to also, you know, approach him and ask questions even if he doesn't know. But yeah, I just wish we raised more men who are more open about periods. I think we've created a stigma that periods are just for girls and about girls, and that men are not affected during that time. When you are married, you learn, Uguti, you need to communicate. These things affect everything, honey. He needs to know. Well, he doesn't have to know, but sometimes he can guess by, you know, virtue of your mood. He just knows, you know. Periods and contraceptives, especially if you're using the loop. So, confession here, some of you already know, I've never been on any contraceptives. Right after giving birth, my gynae sat me down and she was like, okay, you've got to go on a contraceptive. These are the different types. And the question I had, which was my biggest concern, is what will not affect my weight and what will not affect my regular period. I still want to have my period the way it used to be, even if it changes, but can it change the way it's supposed to? I don't know if this is possible. So she gave me a couple of like a chart of different contraceptives. Eventually I stepped out of there knowing very well, I'm not going to do this. Like, it's not something I want to do. It's not something I've ever thought of. All my life I knew it was never an option. Why now? Like, yeah, so that's just me, y'all. We'll have a go talk video on specifically that topic though. Let's not waste our period time. Every time I'm on my period, I at least spoil once, especially when sleeping. How can I avoid this? Oh, you mean like leakage? Oh, sorry, girl. So when I was younger, I was so paranoid. I actually would not have a full night's sleep. Like those 3 or 4 days of my period, I would not sleep properly. I would advise those long maxi pads. So this is like a standard size pad, right? But the long maxi ones are like this much. So you have this much space. It's quite long. And the nice thing about them is that they go over your bum and they go a little bit just above, you know, your area there. So they're really comfortable. You can sleep on your tummy and be fine. You can also sleep on your back. The other thing is, if you really want to have absolutely no leak and be sure about it, you can use a tampon, which is what I trust. But be warned, tampons are meant to only be worn between 4 to 8 hours. In fact, I believe pads are the same, but I've always preferred to use the minimum time or maximum 6 hours of wearing a tampon and a pad. When I was younger, I used to stick to the 6 hours, but now, you know, we have more money, we can afford less time and more of these items. Back in the day, it was honestly not an option. If I've got a pack, that's all I have for the month, you know. I didn't want to bother my mommy with buying another one. If I'm actually wearing a tampon at night, which is definitely one of the leak-free options I've used, and it's worked very well with me, I set an alarm and then I wake up and I change, okay, after 4 hours or 6 hours, if I really need to stretch it to 6. For you though, if you do know that you're sleeping more than 8 hours, then you definitely have to set the alarm. If you know that you are somebody who maybe sleeps at 10 and is up at 4 or 5, then it's fine. Like, that's perfectly fine, okay? But do not leave it any longer than 8 hours. So yeah, that's the other option. Also, when it comes to tampons, know your flow. Understand your flow. Never wear a tampon that's not aligned with your flow, okay? There are tampons that come in different sizes. Since this is a lesson, let's just go straight into it. So this blue box over here, this is a Lilette's box. This video is not sponsored, by the way. Just put them out there in case you're wondering. This box comes with this tampon over here, right? It's a pretty small tampon, and over here is a guide of your flow. This is a regular flow, and it's pretty light, okay, compared to the one that I'll show you just now. So this one is pink, and it's a bit of a heavier flow. This is what you'll use for that. And then there's even a thicker one which looks similar to this but a lot thicker, and it's orange in color. So with that one, you know it's the heaviest flow. So on your first night, I would obviously, usually for me, that's my heaviest. Some people, it's the second day or second night where they're the heaviest. That's what you want to use, okay? And then near the end of your period, I generally lean towards this one. If I'm going to bed, I know there's going to be almost nothing though, because near the end, like, you know how periods go. Like, sometimes they even disappear. Actually, no, all the time. They've got that one day. Somebody did also ask this question, do they disappear for a day and then come back the next? That's completely normal. At least for me and a lot of other girls, it is. A lot of people came here and they asked that, and I was like, I am not alone. Yes, so it's practically normal to happen. So I hope that helps. When do you get your normal monthly periods after having a baby? So this differs for everyone, and I got this question from a lot of moms. Some people are saying they breastfeed exclusively for 7 months and they still don't have their periods. It generally affects you the most when you are exclusively breastfeeding. As long as you're exclusively breastfeeding, the first year, expect no period. That is what my gynae has told me. That is what a lot of other ladies have also told me, okay? However, also please pinch of salt and consult your doctor. This can change. You could get your period earlier. You know, some of my friends got their periods earlier than I did, and they were breastfeeding a lot more than I did. Mine took a whole 10 months, and the only reason it came back is because I went on holiday with our Fairs. You remember when we went to Morgan Bay? That video where we were like, where's Fairs? The plan was to take him with, but because we didn't, I had 4 days without breastfeeding. It was so painful. It was so painful. However, when I came back, literally 2 days in, my period kicked in, because my body was telling my ovaries that everything up here is done. Like, there's no more supply, or rather there's no more demand, and there hasn't been any supply to my baby for a good 4 days. So my body's then ready to, you know, prepare for a next baby, or now to properly reproduce. So yeah, that's what I think happened. And I won't give you the science lesson of how periods take place, but basically all my body was saying is, you can release the egg now and let's go. If anything happens when she's ovulating, she won't get pregnant now for sheezy. So yeah, that's what happened. 10 months. I use pads during the day and tampons at night, so I can toss as I like. Am I alone, and is it a waste? No, I absolutely think it's probably advisable from my perspective to do so, just to switch it up. up. And also, as long as you're still wearing a pad, I think it's perfectly fine. I know people who wear tampons exclusively. I just don't think my down there would cope. I just needed to breathe at times. I'm scared of using tampons. What can I do to calm myself and actually do it and do it properly? So it is quite easy. Let's do the tutorial right now. You gotta squat. The best way is to squat. Now this is you doing it. At the coming part, have some water, have a glass of water or tea or whatever calms you. Okay, go to the bathroom. Don't think about exactly what you're doing. Just think that this is for your period, not necessarily that you're inserting something inside of you. Don't think of that. Okay, so have a little squat, not like a full squat. It can literally just be one where you just like, okay, where your booty is facing up. When you're inserting, please do not do this. Okay, your vaginal canal is shaped like that. Me, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to be using scientific terms. When you're inserting your tampon, make sure not to do that. Okay, it's going to hit your wall. Make sure to insert it like this, leaving one finger to push it up, but this direction, so that direction. Okay, that is the safest way to insert it. Otherwise, you're going to stand and feel the poke. In other words, if it's standing straight, it's going to hit you. It's going to hit your wall. Let's put it straight. It's going to hit your wall like that because your wall is like this. So you want to put it along the wall, not necessarily across, because it's going to hurt you. All right, so that's literally how you do it. I hope that little tutorial helped. YouTube, please don't demonetize. We spoke about this now. Does yours ever act like they're gone for one day and then come back again the next day? Yes, honey, I did answer that question. They do this disappearing act. Okay, sometimes it's like half a day, but you never know. So I would always advise on that day, have your tampon close to you or your pad, but wear a panty liner that whole day just to be safe. I always experience diarrhea when it's that time of the month. Is it normal? Yes, some girls do, so I think it's pretty normal. But again, if it's severe to a point where you're weak and it's just water, definitely consult a doctor. Perhaps there's something you can take. Do you ever have period pains? If so, what pills do you take? I take Nurofen. I have very light period pains. Honestly, it's not that bad. And somebody also asked, has my period pains changed since giving birth? Not really. I think they're a little bit more so sometimes, but not every month. So I'm very fortunate to not, I really don't have a lot of pain here. And Nurofen does help. Nurofen that. Which types of pads can you recommend for a heavy flow? Oh, I really don't know. Hey, I would say go to Discam and All Clicks and that aisle and just look at the ones that specify heavy. If I go for always pads, I just look at that little chart that's there with like droplets to just see what works for me, but it's usually like a light to medium flow anyway. But yeah, they should have heavy ones, so they always specify, right? Struggling to use tampons, am I doing something wrong? Please help. Girl, just do that tutorial thing and make sure that you're inserting it gently like that. Also, make sure when you're putting it in, you're leaving enough space. Ooh, I'm not swearing, I promise. Leave enough space, like this much space between the tampon and the edge of your vajayjay. Okay, just make sure that you're putting it in and that it's sitting there securely, but it shouldn't be painful. So you can do a sitting down test and feel that it's secure. And obviously there's a string, right? So you can pull it back out. This should be done within the first minute before it sort of swelled up. But when I was younger, that's how I learned to work my way around them. And I also got a teacher who taught me properly how to use it. Do period pains get worse with age? I don't know if the word worse is what to use, but I do think that periods change as you grow. How they change, that's really up to you, your anatomy, your body. That's on your body's decisions in a sense. Only your DNA can probably, only your hormones can probably determine that. Mine have changed over time. The pains, they're a little bit slightly worse, but I think it's because maybe after giving birth and then obviously having that gap. And then in terms of flow, they've changed over the years. They're not the same flow that I had when I was a teenager versus when I was in my early 20s versus right now. So I definitely think they changed, but worse or better, that's really up to your body to decide, I believe. How do you handle the acne that comes with your periods? Don't touch it, don't entertain it, just leave it as is and continue with your routine. They should disappear. I have a few right here. I'm on my period right now, actually. And I don't know if you can see, but I've got a few on my cheek. So I literally just leave it as is. I don't try and bother with anything like that. Is it true that when you get extreme period pains, chances are you won't be able to conceive? I don't believe that. I think you are what you believe, but such notions, I don't believe in them at all. I don't think there's a correlation. I know people who've had severe period pains and they've got babies. How long did you bleed after your baby was born? I think it was a good 4 weeks straight, like small breaks in between though, but it wasn't nice. I didn't enjoy that stage of after giving birth. Do painkillers affect the flow? No, I don't think so. I'm not sure, but you're talking about Adcodol and Disprin. I would actually advise Nurofen. They've never affected my flow at all, so I can't really answer for Adcodol or Disprin. And if they affect your flow, that does not sound very safe. I would rather just say maybe try Nurofen and see, but they've never affected my flow at all, and I've used them. So every time I'm about to get my periods, my urine burns and it's so uncomfortable. I've never experienced that, but if you know it's your cycle, then it's probably very much related to it. If it's really painful, again, consult a doctor, okay? A lot of people want to know what pads to use when you have a heavy flow. So if you do know and you have a heavy flow, please go down in the comment section and answer this question. Perhaps there's a specific brand that works better. If there are lots of other brands that offer, you know, the heavy flow pad, but there might be one that works perfectly. So I would definitely advise that you look in the comment section. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 or 3 real MVPs down there that are answering this question. Do you ever feel so much pain that you feel like passing out? No, listen, I have never ever had like severe period pains to a point where they are killing me. No, when I do have period pains, I think the worst that I've had, my husband actually advised me to put, don't ask me how we knew this, oats in a sock. So normal dry oats in a sock, pop it into the microwave, and then place that where the pain is. So it's usually on my back at times. Sometimes it's on my tummy, but it's not that bad like the first day. And after 10-15 minutes, the pain goes away. So yeah, that's how I calm myself during that time if I do experience any pain. Can you be pregnant and still have your period? I had a period on the first month that I was pregnant, but I didn't know I was pregnant. So I think it's possible, but if it's like throughout the whole pregnancy, I'm sure your gynae would have the perfect answer for that one, because I don't know if it's normal or not. Your gynae would probably know best. Is it true that people who've never experienced period pains will experience them after giving birth? No, I definitely don't think it's true, because for me, the pain level has kind of stayed the same. There's been no major change there. Do you get periods on different days of the month even when you're a virgin? I got a lot of these questions about being a virgin and your periods, the relationship between the two. I definitely think there's no correlation between virginity and your periods. I definitely don't think so. Some people were asking, can I use a tampon if I'm a virgin? Yes, you can. I used it from my teenage years up until I was still a virgin in university, and after university, like work and stuff. So I used the tampon. It didn't affect my virginity at all. So you can. And then in terms of getting your periods at different times of the month, you can have an irregular cycle. You can also have a regular cycle. For me, I've got a regular cycle. So every 28 days I get my period, okay? Literally, it doesn't shift much. That's how my period works. For some people that changes, okay? Again, your gynae understands your body probably a lot better than anyone would probably do, or any other doctor would. So consult a gynae if you feel like you're having your period 3-4 times a month, two times a month, which is a little bit irregular and abnormal. Some other people were wanting to also know about endometriosis, fibroids, and those kind of things, and these are things that really affect us as women holistically. So again, those are topics for girl talk that I think would definitely be a good idea to do on a monthly basis. Let me know down in the comments section below. Suggest any topics. Let's get conversating down there. I love you guys so much. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, there's no reason not to subscribe. I love you guys so much. Mwah. Bye.